the India-UK Business Convention 2015.
I'm going to kick things off by asking you, Minister, you talked about collaborating with the Indian government on issues like the smart cities, on the Make in India mission, on the Digital India mission, and so on and so forth. When Prime Minister Modi visits the UK in November, what is going to be on the priority as far as taking the bilateral relationship forward is concerned? What would be the key items on the agenda?
No, thank you for that. Well, first of all, we are very much looking forward to Prime Minister Modi's visit, and we've been preparing for it for a while. There will be a number of things on the agenda, and I think I'll try to highlight one or two. First of all, what we've just talked about, some of the things that you mentioned, cooperation in the economic space. So in terms of increasing trade between our countries, mutual investment between our countries, there's a lot more that we can do. And we have some initiatives planned. I don't want to reveal them all now, but we have some mutual ideas. And I think it will certainly give a boost. The second thing is regarding things like skills. That's been hugely important for both of our countries. We have a skill shortage in Britain. That India also wants to invest in skills, and particularly the skills that are required for future growth. And I think there's good mutual cooperation between educational institutions and between the governments in boosting that as well. But
if the government were to play enabler and were to play the role of the facilitator, what are UK businesses telling you at this point in time? And I'm talking about strategic investors. I'm talking about foreign direct investment. Because at the end of the day, capital is a coward, and they will only go in if they feel welcome and if there is a degree of certainty as far as policy, whether it's tax or otherwise, is concerned. This has been a sticky issue when it comes to UK companies specifically. We've got a couple of companies that have now moved arbitration proceedings against the Indian government. Is this going to be at all addressed? Are you going to fight the battle on behalf of UK business?
Well, the way maybe I can start answering that question is, before I came into politics in 2010, I was in international business. I worked for international banks, and I worked in the US and UK and in Asia, and I spent actually a lot of time doing business in India as well. But my specialization was emerging markets, big growing markets like India. And I think for all these markets, the ones that have very clear rules and regulations, whether it's tax or whether it's getting approvals to start a business and issues like that, are the ones that do best. So international companies, they need clarity. They want to reduce uncertainty, and the less uncertainty there is in a potential market, the more likely they are to invest. And that's no different if they're looking at India or any other country.
Okay. Talking about areas of opportunity, and you addressed the need in the UK for skilled talent. What can we expect in terms of ease of talent movement on behalf of the UK government?
Well, already the system we have set up, I think it works well in that if you have a British company that needs someone from anywhere around the world, of course, including India, that needs an expert in any particular field, as long as they meet certain requirements, certainly on earnings and some other requirements, they can bring that talent in and it can help their company grow. And that works well. The other thing we do, and I think is just as important, is to make sure that there's absolutely no cap at all, no restriction on the number of Indians that can come and study in Britain.
Before I get the audience in, if I could ask you a quick question on how bilateral relationships are now going to be shaped in an era where more and more multilateral agreements are being inked. We've got the India-EU FTA derailed at this point in time. We don't know how quickly they're going to be able to get back on track. But what will this mean now as far as bilateral equations go?
Well, I think that certainly when it comes to trade and investment, we are in an era where the agreements are essentially much more likely to be multilateral. Because, as people will know, for the UK, in terms of trade agreements, investment agreements, we operate through the EU. We work together with our EU partners, and I think there's a lot of common sense in that approach. But it does sometimes slow it down. So as you just referred to the EU-India FTA, which I think will be fantastic for both the EU and certainly for India as well. It is a slow bureaucratic process because there are so many countries involved on the European side. But once those deals are done, as we've seen with others, it can certainly lead to a big growth in trade. The other big area is obviously the WTO, where it is easily the largest multilateral trade organisation. There's been a success on a number of issues which India has been involved in as well, certainly digital products, which will help all countries. And I think that's an example where actually you do want a multilateral agreement. It may take longer, it may be requires a lot more effort, but the result at the end can be a lot more valuable for everyone concerned.
The India-UK Business Convention 2015.